All right. So, when we're looking at this form, I essentially want to create something that has a contiguous sort of volume that was similar to what we saw with the curved roof, I guess you would say. Um, so, what we need to be aware of, I guess, is that there's no single command that can actually accomplish that. So, we need to deconstruct this into bits and pieces and then reconstruct it. So, what I mean by that is we can explode this box into separate surfaces, and I can. What's that?
Can you do it like? Oh, actually, no, no, go ahead.
And I can just take the top off and then start modeling new surfaces and then join it all. So that's certainly a possibility. Um, the other thing you can do is go all the way back to the wireframe itself. So if you extract wireframe, I can delete that, and now I have just the wireframe of the box from which I can generate new surfaces. So if I go then into my front view and I create a new arc, well, let me do this a little more exact now. So I'm going to go into the blue layer. I'm going to call this one construction. And so here, under the construction layer, I'm going to draw how tall do I want this thing to be. So anchoring it on the midpoint, I'm going to say I want my arc to be 6 feet tall. Then I can go back to my curve and do my start point. Whoop, project should be on, sorry. Start point, end point. Whoops, I did that wrong. Start point, end point, and then midpoint. So that gives me an arc that I can place on my model. I can, well, these come in planes, huh? Yeah. And I'll explode it. Alright, so I exploded that top rectangle, which for some reason it actually kept together. I'll explode this one too. So I can actually just get rid of that, and I can just select then all of these surfaces and say planar surface. That's PLANAR-SRF. I think we've only done that one once or twice. But that will reconstruct a surface, and then you can go around the whole thing and start doing them again. So I can select that, I can select that, planar surface, I can select this, planar surface, and then I can go down here and select all of those and say planar surface. Okay, so, and then again, I can just do loft across the top too. So loft, and I select this one, curve, enter, good to go. And so now I've got my fully modified volume.
And what was the command before the very first time you selected those two faces and you did planar surface? Was there any command before that? Because I'm doing planar surface and nothing's happening to my arc and my first face.
It could be that it's not connected, which is probably what that means is that there's an error in the profile. If you do a planar surface, this goes for all of you guys. If you do the planar surface command, that means one of two things most likely. Either your curves are not planar, meaning, in 3 dimensions it's skewed, or there's a gap in the curve somewhere. So what you'd have to do, for instance, if this curve is kind of, I'm just going to pull it up like that. If I'm looking at this thing out here and I think, oh yeah, that looks right, but it's not working. Well, then you got to zoom in really, really close and look at it and try and find out, did I actually connect it? And so that's where, that's also where your use of the move command is extremely important in your object snaps, because if I do the move command, your best practice is to turn project off, grab this thing on the corner, and place it exactly on that corner. that point, you should be able to take them off, deselect that, planar surface.
Okay. But you exploded, right? You definitely want us to explode.
That's up to you. So I'm giving you guys options, right? These are different workflows that you can go down. Part of it also depends on what you intend to do with it later. I happen to know that in this model, I want to rejoin the surfaces separately anyway. So deconstructing it into a wireframe actually works well for me because now I can change, layer 1 I can change to a slab. And I can just grab this bottom surface, put it on the slab layer, and then say extrude surface and make it solid first of all, and then -1 foot. So that's, one benefit is that now it's already deconstructed into planes, and I can do something like that very easily. The other thing is that then I can take my walls, which I guess they'll be purple, that, and this, and I can join those, put it on the walls layer, and then ultimately I'll be able to do an offset surface that's going to work to my favor. So what that'll look like is, let me just drop in on 5, drop into clipping plane. You don't have to do this part. I'm just doing this for your for visual sake. So essentially, what that's going to mean is that I can join all of those, do an offset surface, and I don't want you to do the offset surface yet. Make it a 1/2 foot, and you're going to wind up with something that looks like that. So that's very significant because when we go into cutting, like windows and door openings and stuff into this volume, which we're going to do that. You already have, remember assignment 1 with the box where we took out the bottom? You already have now a closed volume that you can use Boolean difference very easily. So it's pre-set up. It's pre-set up for us not to have to do a split or anything like that in order to use our Boolean difference and just start punching holes in this thing. So if that's confusing to you, you might want to go back to assignment 1 and just refresh in the videos just that first couple of moves I made where I removed the bottom, because I think it'll make more sense to you now, now that you have all the skills that you do have. Offset surface is what I did to that. Okay, so what I would like to see you guys get to is this level with this volume, and then we're going to start modifying, with further volumes and stuff. Actually, sorry, I misspoke. Let me go back a step. I want you to, at this point right here, I want you to copy that over. Just copy one off to the side. Well, you know what? Forget it. I know you guys know how to do offset surface. I don't need to see that. Just get to this level where you've got a slab and then you have a warped surface volume that's all joined. Not offset surface. Okay, so it should be flat like this. Are there any questions?
No, what about the bottom?
Bottom should be a 1 foot thick slab.
Is that plain? It's just box?
Box. It's a box, yeah.
You said joint?
What? Sorry?
You said joint?
Joined.
Oh, joint.
Joined. As in, it is joined.